If you haven't seen the improvement that you wanted to see as quickly as you wanted to see it in your running performance, today I'm going to go through 5 areas to help you navigate your way through the lull or through the plateau to see you running as fast as we know you can run. The first thing we want to look at is the speed that you're running at. When you're new to a sport, when you're here and you want to improve, one of the first things we do is each run we try and see a faster and faster progression. However, counterintuitively, this in fact often slows down our progress in the sport because with faster running means delayed recovery. And if we're going out every day just running as fast as we possibly can, trying to beat yesterday's performance, trying to upload our data onto Strava so it looks a little bit better, one of the quickest things that we're going to see is our body is going to be more tired than it needs to be. So what you need to do, you need to navigate exactly what the reason for the run is each day. If you're doing a hard session, make sure it's hard and it's followed up by an easy recovery session the following day. What's just as important as seeing the really hard efforts being done is seeing the really good, solid recovery being done so that you can go into each fast session feeling fresh and feeling ready so that you can really push your body to the limit on that day. The next thing we need to talk about is consistency. Now, in any area of life, consistency is the thing that sees massive results come to fruition. In fact, I'll challenge you to find an athlete who's been running for only 2 years consistently, who's standing on the start line of any major event in any sport all around the world. Chances are it's going to be very difficult to come across. The reason is success doesn't happen overnight, or as the cliche goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. The same is true with running. Running has a reputation for rewarding the most consistent athletes. So if you're the kind of athlete who'll put in really hard work for a week and then have 3 weeks off, or put in hard work for 2 weeks and have a month off, we're not going to see the breakthroughs that we know you're capable of having. So what's a better idea is slightly bring back the intensity or the length of the runs that you're doing, but aim to get out there a certain amount of times each week. 4 times a week for 6 months is better than 7 days in 1 week without any other runs following that for the next few months. The third area we want to focus on is running technique. Now, this is one of the most frustrating areas of distance running for me because no one pays attention to it. We're so caught up on training that we forget about the way we use our energy. We need to learn from swimmers and golfers and tennis players and cyclists and understand that the way we use our energy in a sport like distance running is so crucial. If we're swinging energy all over the shop, using our upper body in an inefficient way, holding tension in an inefficient way, then the way that we see our running progress is going to be so limited. You need to get some professional guided running technique guidance so that you know the areas that you store tension, so you can see where energy is being wasted, and that so you can focus on developing some practical strategies for when the going gets tough in your running performance. If you need a little bit more help, jump over to relaxrunning.com. I've linked that down below for you. I'd be happy to work with you one-on-one to see some improvements in your distance running. The fourth thing is event-specific training. It's no good if you're training for a marathon to go out twice a week and do 3x200 meter sprints as fast as you can. I mean, while that style of training might complement marathon training, we need to get out and train specifically for the event. So clarify, what is it exactly that you're working toward? What race is it that you're wanting to run? What is your goal date? And then work backwards from there to make sure that the training includes the right amount of endurance running, the right amount of speed work, the right amount of tempo runs. If you've got no idea where to start, I would be happy to work with you. I've got 2 spaces left on the personal coaching level, but we also have some marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K training plans over at the website to offer you some guidance on how to structure your training. Don't guess your way to running success and just cross your fingers and hope it works. Put some really practical, proven strategies in place to make sure that when your event comes around, you're ready to go, you're fit and you're confident to get out there and have a crack. The last thing we want to talk about is fueling. Obviously, what we put in the engine of the car is going to dictate how effectively we get to the destination that we're trying to get to. If you're living on Macca's and KFC, obviously you might get away with that for a little while, but over the long haul, it's going to see you getting sick, it's going to see your immune system weakened, and it's going to see you just fatigued out there on a run. So make sure you're spending a little bit of time researching what fuels you well. It's a very individualized thing. Obviously, a lot of people are speaking about the carbs versus fats diets today, but the truth is, one man's poison is another man's fuel. So it's really important you get a little bit of an overview of what distance runners recommend, and then trial a few things to see what works for you. As much as the research might suggest one specific thing for a certain group of athletes, you're never going to have the confidence in these things until you implement it. So I encourage you that through your training process, have a little bit of a fiddle around with what you felt good after. If you get out for a long run and it felt marvelous, what did the 24 hours before it look like? What did the few days before it look like? What did you eat in the morning, the night before? Start to keep a journal of these things, and over time you begin to see some patterns that really leave clues as to what you function best with. Obviously, sport like distance running, there are a number of things that we can do to see some running improvements. I'd love to hear what has really transformed your own running performance in the comments below. If you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you like the video, and don't forget, if you needed any more specific guidance, whether that be coaching, technique advice, or beyond, jump over to relaxrunning.com. There's a whole heap of ways that we can help you over there. But in the meantime, let's continue the conversation in the comments down below, and I'll see you all here again next week.